Thank you all so much for clicking on today's Dallas Cowboys Report video. We're going to dive into some rumors. Before we do that, though, the NFL draft is like a month away. And if you want to stay in the know with what's going on with the Cowboys and breaking down every single pick once it happens as well, hit that big red button and subscribe as we get closer and closer to 100,000 subscribers here at the Dallas Cowboys Report. Let's chat Cowboys here around Patrick Surtain. He says he hasn't had his meeting with the Dallas Cowboys. That means you're not going to take him. Everybody slow down here at least a little bit. As we all know, the Cowboys and Surtain have been heavily linked together. In fact, Surtain said Trevon Diggs told him the Cowboys are highly interested. Now, I'm not entirely sure that Surtain is getting the best information from Diggs because, it's the player, but they talk. It makes sense, right? The lack of a meeting between Surtain and the Cowboys is not a big deal. In fact, it should be almost telling that Surtain is at least saying publicly the Cowboys have not had their meeting with him. The Cowboys and NFL teams are trying desperately to hide any and all information, and we know the Cowboys like him because they went to the pro day with Dan Quinn and all that. They like Surtain. Don't read anything into that. In fact, frankly, the fact that there has been no meeting actually indicates the opposite to me, that the Cowboys do like him and are trying to hide that information as best as humanly possible. Remember last year when the Cowboys had all of those pre-draft meetings that they publicly announced? Hasn't been any of those this year. It's a different season. Surtain fits what the Cowboys need. They are in the market for a legitimate number one outside corner, and especially in light of the unfortunate Caleb Farley back injury, Surtain's numbers check out fantastically, right? He is a legitimate number one outside corner, and the idea of pairing Surtain and his old teammate Trevon Diggs on the outside, it's intriguing at minimum. Diggs, Surtain are your outside guys. Jordan Lewis / Anthony Brown are your inside guys, and Anthony Brown can play outside as well. And if you bring Surtain in to this Dallas Cowboys team, all of a sudden, things look a lot better in terms of the cornerback depth chart. Now, part of the reason why Surtain is very much in play at number 10 is at least the, I'm going to say, checking of the boxes from his pro day. Now, remember, pro day numbers are juiced, especially this year. In general, the average is .06 you want to add to any 40-yard dash time. Even if you do that for Surtain and you say he checked in under 4.5, that is fast enough. For a guy at his size, 6'2", 208, a 32-inch arm length measure, which is fantastic. The Cowboys love that as well. Fantastic numbers from an explosion standpoint. Great vertical jumps, great broad jumps as well. Although I will make note, the top concern around Surtain was, hey, how can he handle quickness and twitchiness, and he skipped the shuttle and 3-cone. But you know what? I would have done that too if I didn't think I was going to test at an elite level, which I don't know if Surtain was going to. Either way, he's got a round 1 grade for me, so don't take any of the negatives as he's bad. No, he's a fantastic player. In fact, I gave this one 3 stars because I believe Patrick Surtain is the front runner to be the Cowboys draft pick in round 1. So what do you guys want to do? Do you want to take Patrick Surtain at number 10 overall in round 1? Of course, assuming that he is there. So get your votes in for me. Type 1 for yes, you do, or type in 0 for no, you don't. Now, I do want to go more in depth here in terms of the why I think he's going to be there and why I think it's 3 stars and pretty likely. You're going quarterbacks first 3 picks. Jags, Jets, Niners. The Falcons could go cornerback, but I think unless they trade down, it's going to be a quarterback or a Kyle Pitts or something else altogether. The Bengals at number 5, not taking a cornerback. The Dolphins, they're not doing it. Now, Detroit and Carolina do have needs at cornerback. They also need a receiver for Detroit, and they're going to be a great receiver on the board, or a lineman potentially. Carolina might go quarterback. I doubt they go corner even if they keep that pick. Maybe Kyle Pitts makes sense. Denver's added 2 corners this year. They're not going one at number 9. So I think it is very likely that Patrick Surtain is on the board at pick number 10. And if he is, I think he ends up being the selection for the Cowboys. Now, painfully enough, after the day after I announced Caleb Farley's my number 1 cornerback, lock it in, and then he needs back surgery, I've updated this. I am factoring in the back as much as I possibly can here. So I've dropped Caleb Farley down to cornerback 4. As a result, I've got Patrick Surtain in there as cornerback 1. J.C. Horn is my new cornerback 2. I'm a big Greg Newsome guy. He's cornerback 3 for me. Then Farley, then Asante Samuel. Corner is a significantly massive need for this Dallas Cowboys organization. So if Surtain is there at number 10, and I think he's going to, I think he ends up being the pick for the Cowboys. Now, on the opposite end of this cornerback debate is a free agency option. I gave Surtain 3 stars, so I'm going to give signing Casey Hayward just the 1 star on this one. I do like the idea. I really do. If you were to take Casey Hayward, you probably don't take Surtain in round 1, and instead you maybe look round 2, round 3 somewhere else for the cornerback market. But because I think it's likely Surtain ends up being the pick, I only gave this one the 1 star. But there is a connection, right? Hayward played under Mike McCarthy and Joe Witt in Green Bay. He's coming off a down year, though, for the LA Chargers. The Cowboys in general, by the way, have not spent at all outside of a 1-year, $4 million deal for Keanu Neal. They've not been throwing money around thus far in free agency. I like what Hayward brings as a nickel corner for Green Bay, an outside cornerback for the LA Chargers, but I am concerned that his 2020 campaign is indicative of a potential downward slide. The completion percentage for Casey Hayward was actually better this year. This is all per Pro Football Reference, by the way. Dropped down significantly. But the yards skyrocketed. When Casey Hayward got beat, he got beat bad. And that is troubling, especially early in the year. Did not look right whatsoever. But if you were to bring in Casey Hayward, in terms of instant impact and veteran reliability on your depth chart, Diggs, Hayward, Brown, Lewis, that feels really good. I'd still probably want to draft somebody day 2, maybe early day 3, because Hayward would probably be a 1-year deal. But I do think bringing in Hayward would solidify the cornerback position in a way that the Cowboys have not done at this point. So get your votes in for me. Should Dallas sign Casey Hayward? Knowing, of course, probably takes cornerback off the board super early in round 1 or even probably round 2. So get your votes in for me. Why for yes and for no? Should the Dallas Cowboys sign Casey Hayward? Get your votes in for me in the comments section. Y for yes or N for no. Now, today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet right there, bottom of your screen, and use the promo code you see on screen as well. That is Cowboys125. When you put down $100, that URL, that promo code, it's going to get you a 125% deposit bonus. So just keep that in mind, folks. When you put down $100, extra 125 for free coming your way on top of that. It's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys125. Let's go to KJ right now. I'm going to give this one 2 stars. I'm open to the idea. I'm not convinced it's going to happen, though. Now, Wright reportedly has had contact with the Cowboys, all this coming from Mike Fisher. The exact money has not been discussed, and Fisher says Wright was looking for a 2-year deal. Dallas preferred a 1-year deal. And, oh, by the way, they do share, or Wright's agent is someone named Todd France, who you guys all know and love, I know. I wonder if this is almost KJ Wright trying to get a bigger market going for himself. And the Cowboys like, yeah, sure, Todd, we'll help you out and get some more money from your client. Because I'm unconvinced that the fit is perfect at this point. I love KJ Wright. He's a good football player, but money's always a factor for Dallas. And if the money is right for Dallas, I start to wonder, isn't the money right for Seattle at that point? And in that scenario, is that really in the best interest for the Cowboys and for Seattle? So I don't know if this is really going to go down, but there definitely is some connection. There definitely is some familiarity there. There definitely is a connection and a logical potential fit between these two sides. So because of that, I want you guys to get your votes in for me in the comments section. What is the percent chance, assign a specific number for me, that the Cowboys sign KJ Wright? I'm not going above 50%. It might be more like 25 or 30%. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. I like what Wright brings you because as a guy who played a lot of Sam linebacker this past year for the Dallas Cowboys, or for the Seahawks, excuse me, I thought he was really solid, really productive as well. Good pass breakup numbers, good tackle for loss numbers, a player who can stick on the field on all 3 downs for you as well. But I do start to wonder what the exact role ends up being for KJ Wright. I think he becomes a Sam linebacker on base downs, probably at least rotates in on passing downs with either Jalen Smith or LVE and or Keanu Neal not being on the field. And in terms of a top 4 with Wright, Neal, Jalen, and Leighton Vander Esch, I feel great about that. It's an older unit, and you also wonder what happens to Sean Lee, but is KJ Wright looking for a deal that would value him as more than just a linebacker 3-ish? I think so. I think he's worth that. Does that fit in Dallas? I'm not sure. And yes, there's also the Dan Quinn connection. I do wonder, though, if Dan Quinn would rather keep some of his I want this guy chips in his back pocket, use it not on a 31-year-old linebacker, but maybe on a younger linebacker altogether. And I do think day 2 makes a lot of sense for the Cowboys to look at a potential draft prospect. So 5 guys on here. Jabril Cox out of LSU, 2 OSU players, Baron Browning and Pete Warner. Chaz Surratt, also throw in Jamin Davis, who might end up being replaced by Nick Bolton from Missouri if Davis ends up going as high as Mel Kiper has him, for example. But I think a day 2 linebacker pick actually might fit in an ideal world, not always possible, but in an ideal world, better for the Cowboys. So I don't know in the end if the KJ Wright deal happens. I would be fine if it does. It makes me feel much better about that linebacker room. Frankly, might not even be a major need for me at that point. But because of the money and role question marks I have, I'm unconvinced that actually ends up being the case and Wright actually lands with the Dallas Cowboys.